Hello, dear light beings, brothers and sisters of the light. This is Hal Weinshank coming to you again with another Soul Talk or Spiritual Power Hour. Tonight's topic is about finding your purpose and discovering what your purpose is in life. So give me one moment, since I'm launching this on multiple platforms and we want to make sure that we have this going on. So hold on one second, please. Oops, let's get rid of that. There we go. All right, so more live on Facebook. All right. I don't know if this is going to work. Give me one more second. All right, so this is not working. Not sure why this is not working. All right, I'm just going to go live on Facebook itself since Zoom is not cooperating. Okay, let's get out of here. Okay, guys, let's see here. Let me go into here. And one more thing. Okay, bring up my class notes. And give me 1 or 2 more minutes. Okay, here we are going live on Facebook. Hello, dear Facebook friends, brothers and sisters of the light. This is another Soul Talk in which I will be discussing finding your purpose and how to find your purpose in life. Probably you felt, alone, lost, confused. You're not the only one. It's very difficult here in what we would call 3D planet Earth to find your purpose, because the matrix, the way it's set up now, and we could do an entire talk on this, the way the matrix is set up now, it's meant to confuse you, because the 3D matrix right now is inverted, which means it's sort of upside down. So for those of you listening, if you kind of understand this, if you feel like we're living in a clown world, that's why. It was changed, let's say, approximately, some say 300,000 years ago by dark AI or dark entities. But the Matrix, the movie itself, is a documentary. I would suggest, if you've never seen it, to go watch it. But this is the reason, part of the reason, why it's very difficult for us to find our purpose. You feel like you don't belong, you feel like others don't understand you, perhaps, you don't quite fit in, okay, these sorts of things. This is having to do with finding purpose. If you're like me, real quickly to tell you my story, I've changed my careers in my life from what I can remember at least 7 different times. And, I'm middle-aged at this point, but still I've had to pivot. They talked about this during the V, that we had to pivot. I've had to pivot long before the V ever came along. Because, again, part of the journey of life and finding your purpose is to experiment. We're creators, we're intense, immense light beings who've been sort of neutered in terms of what our abilities are and what our capabilities are. And we had what many, including like Dolores Cannon, called a veil put over us so that we wouldn't remember our true abilities. And so this goes into finding purpose. Our purpose here on planet Earth is similar, and yet for each individual is different. So let me talk about that a little bit, okay? So what I mean by that is, on a universal level, everyone has the same purpose. And that purpose is to learn, expand, experience, and grow. Okay, in other words, we are soul beings inhabiting this physical avatar, this physical body, and we came here as co-creators of Source, or of God. And so this is a school, it's a learning experience, and we came here with the same universal purpose, which is those items that I just mentioned. And if you think about it, if you say, well, no, that doesn't make any sense. I mean, all of us are different. Yes, we are, but we're also universal, meaning we all get up in the morning, we all brush our teeth, or whatever. We do different grooming habits. We all eat. We all maybe have children. We all go to a school early in our lives, etc., etc., etc. So we have more commonalities on this planet than differences. That's the universal purpose, is to go through the human experience. Okay, so that's the higher level purpose. The lower level purpose is your individual purpose. In other words, what you, as who you are, what it is you are going through. And what you are going through is basically dependent upon a lot of different traits. So as a soul, you come in, you pick your parents, believe it or not, you go as a soul, and your soul is incorporeal. It means it's non-physical. The soul checks out the fetus, so to speak, or the baby before it's born, and sort of does an examination of both parents, if there are two parents, and does an examination of the fetus to pick the gender first. The gender is one of the first things that's picked besides the parents. And then, of course, the location, because the geographical location will determine that soul's experience. And then there's other traits that go into it besides what I'm just mentioning. That's just to prep the soul. And the soul comes in, when it takes its first breath, the infant, it charges the heart, and then it basically starts the life of that soul being. The other traits, of course, are your horoscope traits, which I'm not going to get into now. We could teach an entire class on that. Other traits is your ancestral lineage, in other words, how your family came in. Are you first generation, second generation, third generation, fourth generation? So your cultural background, which determines where it is in life that you're experiencing this as a soul being. So it's not just the geography. So I'll use an example. Let's say you were born in Germany and then you moved to the United States. Your experience from your other German counterparts who are still living in Germany is going to be slightly different because of the consciousness of the United States. There's a consciousness around all the geographic areas in the world. When you really think about it, if you've traveled at all, you can feel that. It's not, and we call that in sociology and things like that, but culture is just consciousness. And then there's subdivided down. So for example, in the United States, each region, the Western region, has a slightly different consciousness than, say, the Deep South or the Midwest, where everybody, is allegedly very friendly, that sort of thing. And so each area has its own sort of consciousness. This all goes into your soul makeup, okay, what I call your soul recipe. And your soul recipe also determines your purpose. So for example, let's say you grew up in a very blighted area, in a very poor area, either in the city or out in the country or what have you. That's going to affect your purpose, or what you believe to be your purpose. So I'm bringing in all these environmental factors. I'm bringing in the soul factors, the traits, the recipe that makes you up. But really, in order to find your purpose, it takes a lot of soul searching. It takes, if you watch any of my other videos, I'm over on Telegram under @SoulLearn, and TikTok, @SoulLearn as well. Most of my videos are there and on YouTube, and I've been doing this for about 1.5 years now. If you go back and watch some of my older videos, I say that life here is very, very simple. We use our mind, our head, our thinking, and our heart. Okay, the mind is the left brain, has to do with the personality, which is a word we call ego, but it's really the lower self personality. And then the heart goes to the right brain, which is direct access to source, your higher self, and source above that. And if you do it correctly, there's just pure information. It just comes through. So I always stress to everyone, because as a collective consciousness, we've been doing way, way, way too much of this. Ever since the mechanistic science, it's what it's called, ever since that first came to be on this planet, some several hundred years ago or so, we've been thinkers. Okay, we used to be feelers. Okay, and the heart is feelings. It's different than emotions. It's feelings. Okay, and so what I suggest to people always, in order to start your journey about purpose, is to go into your heart. And the heart will tell you everything with total truth if you do it correctly. I can teach everyone here how to do a quick, simple trance, or a quick, simple self-hypnosis, in which all you do, you can count down from 10 to 1, get yourself very quiet, close your eyes. It's good to sit in a chair, to sit upright, or if you're more used to it, sit cross-legged on the ground. Meditation is not hard. It's actually very simple once you practice it enough. And you don't have to do this for hours and hours and hours. You could do a simple process of going into your heart in literally 10 minutes flat. And you start deep breathing, you know, relax all the different parts of your body, wherever you feel some tension. And then you could do a mental scan while your eyes are closed. Say, okay, I'm going to go to the top of my head. Do I feel any tension there? Well, yeah, I feel a little bit here on my jaw. Okay, so I release the jaw. Oh, I feel a little bit here on my shoulders. Okay, I release the shoulders. And go all the way down to your toes. Okay. Once you get to that place, take another few deep breaths and focus your attention and your intention and your attention, two different things. Focus on your heart center. The heart center is somewhere between the nipples, more or less below the throat and the throat chakra, and just above the sternum or the bottom of the rib cage. That's the heart center. It's not the physical heart, which is over on your left side. It's the heart area, the heart center. Focus on that area and just listen and say, what is my purpose? And don't edit it. Just listen. Perhaps you're a clairaudient, so you hear things. Perhaps you're clairvisual or clairsentient, where you just know things. But you'll see, hear, feel, sense something if you're really true about asking that question, and if you're in that trance state. That I did a real quick summary of that, but that's you do that. Give yourself a good 10 minutes to get yourself that relaxed. The biggest part of it to access the heart is to shut off the mind. And when I say shut off, it means you're going to have distracting thoughts, especially as you're first meditating. There's what they call a single-pointed meditation. So single-pointed is you can focus your gaze. You know, they call it tiger gaze or cat gaze. Eyes half closed, just a little bit of slits, and focus just on one point right straight in front of you. So a lot of times it's good to go face a wall. Sometimes it's good to put a candle and just focus on the flame, right? That's single-pointed meditation. The other type of meditation is where you're just, you know, sort of letting things go. You let a thought come in, whew, let it go. Let a thought come in, whew, let it go. There's that type of meditation. I sort of combine them. I don't do the single-pointed anymore because with my eyes closed, I can get there. And the biggest trick, again, like I said, is to try to quiet the mind. You can't really shut the mind, but try to quiet the mind. Get into your heart center. Ask, what is my purpose? You'll get something, no matter what. If you're really quiet, no distractions around you, no noises. If there's a noise, say there's a fan going or an air conditioner, focus on the fan or air conditioner, believe it or not. That's a single-pointed thing. And as you're listening to it, say to yourself, you know, the more I hear it, the more I hear it, the more I hear it, I'm going deeper, deeper, deeper into my subconscious and into my higher self and into my heart. And you'll get into that heart space. And you want to ask questions like that and get some answers by going through the heart center. I always recommend that in general. That's really where your intuition comes from. Some people say my gut feeling, and it'll sound like it's, you know, a little bit lower in the body, below the rib cage. And that's fine too. You'll get it there as well in your gut feeling. But really the focus should be in your heart center. So that's one method of doing it in which you're going inner. Okay, so let me give you another method in which you're thinking about it. Okay, and most like this one because you're examining, you're thinking, you're writing things down. The things to ask yourself, let me go through my notes, is these sorts of questions. Okay, so write these down. What do you enjoy most doing? Okay, why did you stop doing what you loved doing? Why aren't you doing it now? And how does that make you feel? And what makes your heart sing? What makes your heart go, oh, I'm so excited. Okay, that'll be a big, big clue towards your purpose. What gets you up in the morning? If you lived in a world where there was no need for money, what would you really do? That's a huge one. Really contemplate that one. Let's say tomorrow, and by the way, it's coming. Okay, there's coming what's called the quantum financial reset. Go search that if you'd like. That's coming. That's coming soon. But what would you do if you literally didn't have to really work for money? What would your work be? Because when you talk to people who are successful and are really in their purpose, they'll say that. They'll say work feels like play. I get up in the morning and I just want to go do what I'm doing. That's an individual living in their purpose. Okay? And the easiest way to define purpose is that. It's what makes you happy. Okay, so it's basically the ego versus the real you. Your real you will determine your purpose. The biggest question that I have people ask themselves, because again, remember this part is you're doing a mental process, which means you're thinking about it. You're asking yourself questions. You're digging into your true self. The biggest question that I tell people to ask, and this one's key, is what did you really, truly enjoy doing when you were younger? Okay? And you say, well, I mean, that's kind of silly. I mean, I used to like to make mud pies, gather up a bunch of mud and water and make these, mud pies. I used to like to go and play in the backyard. I used to like to draw. I used to like to read books, things like that, right? But what kind of activities could those be as an adult to make it a vocation and a profession? And that's kind of sometimes a large leap, but I have everybody start with that. What did you most enjoy doing when you were young? Don't put any ego on it. Just write them all down, what I just said. Liked making mud pies, liked drawing, liked running in the backyard. Okay? Once you have those written down, dig one step deeper and say, why did I like making mud pies? How did that make me feel? Well, it made me feel happy. That's a bit generic. Okay. Well, did you like smoothing them out? Did you like making them look exactly like a pie? Things like this. So this will determine, like, are you an artist? Okay. Are you somebody who's constructive and likes doing designs? Right? Maybe you like making a tree fort. Maybe you like making, like for me, I used to like to make structures with sticks and twigs. I liked building things. Okay. Made me real happy as a kid. I used to love climbing trees. I love to have a feeling of ascending. This is why I do teaching. Things like that, and dig a little bit deeper so that you get the emotions, the feelings. Okay. And that'll be a very, very big clue in terms of finding your purpose. The last part of it that I wanted to get into, I want to see how we're doing on time. All right, I don't want to keep this too long. I want to keep it about 20 minutes or so. And then I can answer any questions in any of the social media I post this to. I'll have comments. This main one is going into our Facebook group. I can post that in here. The easiest way to get to our Facebook group, by the way, is at the website www.soullearn, 2 words, soullearn.com/groups. And that'll swing you over to our Manifesting and Finding Purpose group in Facebook. A lot more activity goes on in there, and I can answer personalized questions for free. Okay, it's a really good community to join. So one of the main things that you can use to get unstuck and to get back onto a feeling of a path and purpose, right? And when you're stuck, right? You feel sort of lost. You're in a job or maybe a profession in which you're saying to yourself, there's just so much more I could do. There's so much more I could be, right? This is a huge clue that you're not on your true purpose, because as soul beings, we're immensely creative, and I'm really stressing that word. We want to create at all times. And so if we feel stifled, if we're in a job or a profession or a marriage or a relationship or an area of the world or whatever that feels like it's sort of pressing us down, right? That means you're not living on your true purpose. A soul, when it's living on its true purpose, there's very, very definable characteristics, a soul being, okay? You're excited, right? You have a passion. You have an immense curiosity, even though you may be doing the same thing for, say, years. Let's say you're happy and you're in your purpose and you're doing the same thing for years. You find one other level. Wow, I'm really curious about such and such, right? Let's say you're a sculptor, an artist who sculpts things, right? And you used to do mud pies, okay, when you were younger. Now you're a sculptor, okay? You want to go and study another master or another technique, because that's what the soul wants to do. The reason the soul has passion and excitement and what makes your heart sing and curiosity and a fascination of a child, these are all characteristics of a soul on purpose, is because the soul, again, wants to constantly learn, expand, experience, and grow. See? Stagnation, you can't do any of those. Well, you can, but you're just not learning in a very quick manner, let's say, and you're only learning in a very narrow field. That's what stagnation means. That's that pushing down feeling. So you know that you're stuck when you're in that pushing down feeling, okay? When you're obviously, you know, your life doesn't make you feel passionate, doesn't make your heart flutter, and you know you're just not fulfilling, the word fulfilling, filling full, or full, see what I mean? You break the word down, you're feeling full, is because you're off track. You just haven't found it yet. And go through some of those exercises that I mentioned. That'll help. I deal with more of this in one of my main courses, which I'll announce at the end of this if you'd like to attend. It's going to be just a real condensed, probably 2-hour course, because I used to do a 4 to 6 week course, and I still do that as well. That's like the platinum level, and that's where you can access me one-on-one as a coach to help you find your purpose. But I'm going to be doing a purpose condensed masterclass coming up in probably about 2 weeks, and I'll announce it in here as well. And that'll go into soullearn.com/purpose. You'll be able to see it there. So when you're stuck and you're feeling that you're down and you're not fulfilling your purpose, you're trying to stay true to yourself, and you're removing the outside influences. And there's traumas and things that influence that, but don't focus on those. Just focus on first finding your purpose with the 2 methods I described. There's the going inward method, the heart method, and then the thinking about it, the examination method. And give yourself, you know, love and permission and allowing to find your purpose. Don't beat yourself up over it, because again, this 3D matrix, everyone is in the same boat. Majority of people on the planet are not fulfilling their purpose. Okay, and it's because of the structure, it's because of the design of the matrix. The matrix is meant to essentially keep us down and keep us stifled, or quelled is the word, and make us basically be good little worker bees. This is kind of their purpose behind the way they've constructed the inverted 3D matrix. The other thing to keep in mind as you're starting to write and journal, by the way, write things down that you discover for your purpose. I call this finding purpose in hectic times. We're in a lot of distraction right now. Distraction and distraction. So much information and news coming into us, right? Stay focused on finding your purpose, and you will get there. And again, if you need help, I'll be doing the masterclass. I'm also available one-on-one. But stay focused on finding your purpose, and you will find it. You will just have to be able to go. I recommend to people, depending upon how you like to operate, to do a balance between heart and head. Heart and head, because that's the 2 things we do here. I describe this in all my videos. Everybody complicates it. As human beings, being human, this is what we do here. We think and we feel. We think and we feel. We think and we feel. It's primarily what we do here. There's other systems. I'm not going to get into it because it's complicated. But when you really think about it, when you really feel about it, you'll know that this is primarily what every single human being on the planet does. We think, we feel, we think, we feel, we think, we feel. Some people overly think. Some people overly feel. Some people overly think. The balanced human being does a balance between the 2, and I would stress to everybody to use more heart, just because it's been underused for a very, very long time on this planet. It's built into the collective that we think and think and think and think and think. Because our true power is in our heart. Our true purpose is in our heart. Because again, the heart center, the heart knowing, is tied to our higher self, is tied to our soul being. Okay, soul being is just a word for who we are as a light being. So the way to access it is through the heart. So focus and concentrate on those things. Ask those things that I mentioned earlier. Ask those questions of yourself. You can put them on a scale of 1 to 10 if that helps you. The left brain loves to categorize things. And then how much resistance you have to each one, that sort of thing. But write things down. Get your answers to your questions. Again, I would do both. I would do the examination process and what you're thinking about what made you happy when you were youngest. What would you do if you never had to work for money again? What would you really do? Sincerely ask yourself that question. That's a mind changer. And then go into the thinking process. Put yourself into a meditative place. It's not that hard. Just do some deep breathing. Let go of physical tensions in the body. If you have an injury, try to lessen that, because that comes up quite often when I teach people meditation. They say, well, I've had this shoulder injury for years, and every time I go quiet, I try to meditate, man, that thing just flares up, and all I do is focus on that. Okay. If you have anything physically going on in the body, maybe you just have some gas, okay? Maybe you ate something wrong. Try not to focus on that. Say, okay, I acknowledge and I love myself for having this pain in my shoulder, but right now I just need to get relaxed. And then go into your heart center and ask yourself those questions. I will again put the link in here to our Facebook group and Telegram. Again, if you go into, if it depends on which social media you use. Telegram is at SoulLearn. And TikTok, where most of my videos go, is at SoulLearn. The website is www.soullearn.com. And to get to the Facebook group, it's /groups. And to take the Purpose Mastermind class, it'll only be about 2 hours. I'll make it very, very affordable, probably under $70 for at least 2 hours. And then there'll be a membership and recording. And you'll also get at least email access to me. If you want to do the platinum service, you'll also get one-on-one with me, and we'll do probably a 4-week class, because that's what I've always done before, is a 4-week class. And each class would only be 1 to 2 hours at most. And again, those will all be recorded, and those will all be in a membership, okay? Okay, so if you have any questions, let me check real quick to see if there's questions on Facebook itself, and if there's questions here on TikTok. And let's see. Thank you, Blessed with Favor. I appreciate that. And then over on Facebook, let me go here real quick, guys. All right. How do you know if you found your purpose? Again, you might have come in late. You'll know you found your purpose when things feel light, things feel exciting, things that make your heart go pitter-patter, like that. Then you know you're on your purpose, and then you can refine your purpose further to be more happy and more excited and more curious and more passionate. See, and that's life. You'll refine your purpose further and further as you go on in life. So again, go through the steps that I just mentioned to find your purpose, and you'll do fine. Again, if you have any questions, just go ahead and comment either in TikTok or Facebook or on YouTube. The YouTube video will go up tomorrow. And for now, I'll see you later. Again, I do these soul talks every Tuesday night, live, 6 p.m. Pacific time, 9 p.m. Eastern time. We usually only go for about maybe 15, 20 minutes. The longest is maybe 30 minutes. And if you have any questions, go ahead and let me know. Otherwise, I'll go ahead and end this now. Okay, beautiful souls, you do have immense power. I can never stress that enough. I do this all the time in my videos. You don't realize it yet. And once you find your purpose, you'll be tapping into that power. So find your purpose. Use the techniques that I've described, and you'll be doing just fine. Okay, so go forth, multiply, find your purpose. Okay, bye-bye for now, young ones. I'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.